Hey guys, welcome back to part 3 of Why I Like Batman. Check out parts 1 and 2 if you want this to make sense. And once more, spoiler alert for so many things Batman. The DC Animated Universe, the DC Universe original movies, Dark Knight Returns, Young Justice, pretty much everything. So in this part, we're going to talk about just what it is that drives him to sacrifice everything for his crusade on crime, and what that does to a person, which honestly, in Batman's case, it makes him crazy.
What kind of city are we running when we depend on the support of a potential madman?
Such rot, sir. Why, you're the very model of sanity. Oh, by the way, I've pressed your tights and put away your exploding gas balls.
Yeah, sorry Alfred, that's not quite the case. So, because we are talking about what drives Batman, we are unfortunately going to be seeing a lot of Batman's parents dying because, well, that is why he does what he does.
Wade, why do you do what you do?
That event shaped his life utterly and completely, and the pain he felt is so strong that even to this day, his parents' death can bring the Dark Knight to his knees.
Poor kid watched the whole thing happen in front of him.
Look at the look on the face. It was the same in front of City Hall.
What do you suppose something like this does to a kid?
In the case of Bruce Wayne, it broke him. See, not only did that day shape everything that was to come for Batman, it scarred his mind permanently.
I've tried to be patient. I've tried to wait. But I have to know. How, Father? How do I do it? What do I use to make them afraid? If I ring the bell, Alfred will come. Another of your gifts to me, Father. But I'd rather die than wait another hour. I've already waited 18 years. Years since all sense left my life.
Notice how he was talking to his father? Batman was so scarred from that event, he was unable to ever move on from that day, and in fact feels the pain of his parents' murder like it had just happened, even years later.
12 years, and the ache is still fresh, like a raw, angry nerve. But this isn't about healing. I'm not looking for closure.
The day his parents died was the defining moment to Batman's life, and it continues to define him, reflecting in his failures.
Why couldn't you save us, son?
And with his fears of the future. Here's a clip of Batman fighting against the Court of Owls, where he sees an eerily familiar vision.
I'll find my way through this, and I'll bring this whole damn court crashing down around here.
That movie was great!
Take what you want, but don't hurt my family. Please.
Do you understand now? When you put on that mask, you became as much of a demon as the men you claim to oppose. You became one with the very forces that killed your parents.
We'll get into how much of a criminal Batman is in part 4, but his fear of becoming like that is justified, and it's his broken mental state that takes him down that path. You saw how just seeing the image of his parents in the alley brought him to his knees. This is a man that is entirely unable to move on from their deaths.
He'll get over it. Won't he?
He never gets over anything.
He spent his whole life trying to make up for their murder.
It was just like that night in the alley, Alfred. The closeness of the walls, the gunfire. It seems I've been trying to stop those 2 bullets all my life.
The control his parents' death has on him is something others have pointed out as well, like his romantic partners.
Where's your father now?
Haven't a clue. Why don't you try Madagascar?
That's not what you told Reeves. You told him you were closer than ever to your father.
You had me bugged, is that it?
I can read lips.
Then read them now. Get out.
You still following your dad's orders?
The way I see it, the only one in this room controlled by his parents is you.
Or even his enemies, at least when they know the secret.
Behind all the sturm and batarangs, you're just a little boy in a play suit crying for mommy and daddy. It'd be funny if it weren't so pathetic. No, what the heck, I'll laugh anyway.
Even decades later, just the reminder of their death causes flashbacks, not unlike a symptom of PTSD. Whether it's happiness, humor, or his own personal identity, everything was screwed up the day he saw his parents die. The very person he might have been changed. Let's look at his famous stoicism.
Batman, please! Tell me you're not sending us on this joke of a wild ape chase.
I never joke about the mission.
Batman is not one to joke around, or use humor much at all.
I don't know if I'll be fast enough to get it before the wound closes.
Where's the Flash when you need him?
Do me a favor and lose the sense of humor.
Do us both a favor. Buy one.
Superman isn't the only one who comments on how Batman has no sense of humor. Here's Terry decades later talking about it.
The real Batman never talked to you much, did he? That's probably why you were so fixated on him.
Don't play psychoanalyst with me, boy.
Oh, I don't need a degree to figure you out. The real reason you kept coming back was you never got a laugh out of the old man.
I'm not hearing this.
Get a clue, Clowny. He's got no sense of humor. He wouldn't know a good joke if it bit him in the cape.
Even Alfred remarks upon it.
Well, you'll be happy to know I've drawn you a bath. Whenever you're ready.
What's the deal, Alfred?
I said I drew you a bath, sir. April Fools?
Very funny, Alfred. I guess I'll just take a shower.
Not a funny bone in his entire body.
I mean, how can you not find this line from Alfred amusing?
It seems that Clayface is losing his integrity.
I wasn't aware that he ever had any to begin with.
I'm speaking in a physiological sense, Alfred.
See, I think the mental scars Batman has stopped much of his emotional development, including a sense of humor. I think his view of the world shifted so drastically in one night, he never recovered.
One would think the fall of Rupert Thorne would bring a smile even to your face.
I'd love to know who this mysterious informant is. This is the third gang lord Mason's brought down in as many months.
Remember, Bruce was only 8 years old when this happened to him. But it's not just humor that he's lost. I believe Batman may have lost the ability to be truly happy, or even to recognize it. I think he has a hard time seeing anything other than the pain he feels. Remember the Christmas scenes in part 2?
Okay, I'll make a deal with you. If we go out on patrol and Gotham is quiet with no sign of the Joker, we come back here, have Christmas dinner, and watch It's a Wonderful Life.
You know, I've never seen that. I could never get past the title.
Played for laughs, yes, and yet here's another clip where Batman, being in love and thinking of marriage, starts to feel the pain of his parents' death leave him for the first time.
It doesn't mean I don't care anymore. I don't want to let you down, honest, but it just doesn't hurt so bad anymore. You can understand that, can't you? Look, I can give money to the city, they can hire more cops, let someone else take the risk, but it's different now. Please, I need it to be different now. I know know I made a promise, but I didn't see this coming. I didn't count on being happy. Please, tell me that it's okay.
The guilt of breaking his promise to his parents actually drives him to continue to being Batman. And it's not the only time we see that happiness is the thing that stops him from being Batman. Here's Bruce years later when he thinks he's in love once again.
Everything's changed for me these last few weeks. The pain of my parents' deaths, it's still there, but it seems smaller. And there's a new feeling now.
Which would be?
It's a lightness, a sense that things will work out for the best.
It's called happiness.
Whatever it is, I like it. And I know who's responsible for it. I've always assumed that sooner or later the three of you would get all this. Well, it's gonna be sooner. I'm not going to be Batman anymore.
And even though he liked these new feelings he didn't even recognize, he never trusted them. And they didn't last long once he realized something just wasn't right.
Why are you interrogating me like this?
Too much perfection and too many green eyes.
What are you talking about?
Let's just say I want to know more about you. Where you came from, your friends, your relatives.
You're just being silly.
You're not leaving this cabin until you tell me. Well?
Let's move past the casual use of force. See, tragically enough, since it's pain that drives him, happiness is Batman's true antithesis. Even temporary amnesia doesn't stop the pain that is Batman from emerging from his psyche.
My family! My family! My family!
Neither does old age or regret stop him from truly putting Batman behind him, as we see in this clip from The Dark Knight Returns, where escalating crime causes that other side of him to return.
Wow, look at him go!
What are you gonna do when you catch him, Bruce?
Tonight's presentation of Tyrone Power in the Mark of Zorro.
Can only assume Two-Face will return to his criminal ways.
4 killed in a senseless attack.
The assault and mutilation.
The terror that poor little boy must have felt. Storm coming in like the wrath of God, about to hit Gotham.
You try to hold me back, but you're weak. You know it in your soul. You're nothing but a hollow shell. A rusty trap. The time has come.
If your compulsions to fight crime based on a lifelong oath you swore over the grave of your parents causes you extensive nightmares and to hear voices, I think it's safe to question one's mental state. This inability to properly be happy, I think, is what makes Batman feel like the mission is everything, and nothing could be at all important next to it.
Robin's last class is about to end. Go pick her up at school.
And if Miss Kelly should have something better to do with her evening?
There's nothing better.
Batman is more than just a bit off. Let's be honest, he's crazy, and he's been called out on it a time or two, usually by angry teammates, as we saw in Part 2.
You know what, old man? All those years turns out everybody was right. You are insane. Being Batman's no honor. It's a curse.
But what about his enemies? Here's a well-known scene from The Killing Joke, where of all people the Joker compares his origin story to that of Batman, and there are striking similarities.
You had a bad day once, am I right? Oh, I know I am. I can tell. You had a bad day and everything changed. Dressing up like a flying rat doesn't hide it, it screams it. You had a bad day and it drove you as crazy as everybody else, only you won't admit it. You have to keep pretending that life makes sense, that there's some point to all this struggling. You make me wanna puke. I mean, what is it with you? What made you what you are? Girlfriend killed by the mob, maybe? Brother carved up by some mugger? Something like that, I know. Because something like that happened to me. My point is, I went crazy. And I'm smart enough to admit it. Why can't you?
See, even if Batman doesn't want to admit it, his actions and his emotional issues do scream it out for everyone to see. Now let's talk about Batman as a person and who he really is. So everyone knows how Batman plays the role of Bruce Wayne, useless playboy, as a way to throw suspicion off. But just how much of Bruce Wayne is a guise and what is his true self? We've heard the different voices.
I didn't realize you'd taken up listening to rock and roll, sir.
You know, I actually did check this against any musical sounds. Computer still can't come close to pinpointing it.
Wayne Manor, one moment, please. A call for Master Bruce from a Dr. March.
Hey, what's up, Doc?
You have bats, Mr. Wayne. Common brown bats. They shouldn't pose a problem. As the weather gets colder, they'll move on.
What about the sound on the tape?
It's actually two sounds, starlings and brown bats. Probably fighting over a nest in your chimney.
Appreciate the help, Doc. I'll return the favor next time you're raising funds. Bye-bye. This computer checked that fiber against every animal species known to man.
But have you noticed how when he gets angry, a little bit of the Batman voice creeps out?
I don't care how much money we'll lose. I won't have Wayne Enterprises involved in an operation that destroys a rainforest. Shut it down or you're gone. One of my greedy directors made a deal with a slash and burn outfit in the Amazon.
It's fortunate you caught it in time.
I hate it when things slip by me.
Listen to this clip, where he's worried that his friend Harvey Dent might be having some issues, and spoilers, he totally is.
Hey, Harv, what's up? A surprise meeting, that's all.
Now? With who?
Just mind your own business, all right?
You're in trouble, aren't you?
My friend, you don't know the half of it.
Did you hear the Batman voice near the end? How about later, after Harvey's inevitable accident?
Will he be all right?
He'll pull through. He's lucky Batman got him here so quickly.
What about his face?
That's a different matter. A good plastic surgeon should be able to repair most of the physical scars.
I'm more worried about the mental scars.
That the Batman voice creeps out when he's feeling either anger or real genuine emotion, I think shows it's his real personality coming out. See, I don't think Bruce Wayne really exists at all. I think deep down it's all Batman. It's all pain.
But the older I got, the more I realized that I didn't know him at all. How could I? Bruce Wayne is as much a mask as Batman. And I think the only thing behind those masks is pain. A pain he refuses to share with anyone.
Except no one can keep a mask on all the time. Here's another clip of how anger, or possibly pain, brings out the Batman.
I remember you, Kyodai.
Well, you should recall the man you ruined. I was forced to become a thief after I was cast out of the dojo.
As I remember it, being a thief was what got you thrown out in the first place.
Of course, you never had to worry about money, Wayne. A society parasite feeding off others. Flabby, soft, weak. It is too easy to defeat you. Gotten a second wind, have you? Good. This will make your defeat all the more satisfying.
Shut up and fight.
But the problem is, Batman is angry a lot. He quite obviously has issues with his anger. Issues that even Alfred has called out before.
Master Bruce, stop! Master Bruce! What, Bruce? I will not in good conscience allow you to go. You're outmatched by these assassins. What? You're not some hardened vigilante. You're a young man with a trust fund and too much anger. You're in over your head, and I don't want this to be your end.
So what happens when that anger makes it too difficult to keep the mask of Bruce Wayne on? Well, he slowly loses it. Take a look at these two clips of Bruce Wayne at work, one when he is younger, the other several years of crime fighting later.
I know it's your company, Mr. Wayne, but $20 million, man, that's a lot of money.
Yes, it is. What's your point?
Well, I'd sure feel uncomfortable walking around with all that cash in a tiny little briefcase.
Dana, I'm sorry. I'm not following this. What cash? What briefcase?
How was the inspection, Mr. Wayne?
Fine, Sarah. Did I miss anything?
Just Seymour Gray. He's been calling all morning.
Who?
One of the clerks downstairs. He's sort of a quiet guy, usually.
Notice how his Bruce Wayne voice is much closer to his actual voice when he's older? Here's another of later Batman.
She never stops, does she?
Not that I've noticed. Any luck finding the comedian?
3 nights, and not so much as a green hair.
Of course, you have been dividing your time between work and Lois.
Is that a problem?
The two voices are similar. I wonder if perhaps it's because he simply finds it harder not to be Batman all the time. Here he is in the office decades later.
Come in, Bruce. What a pleasant surprise. How have you been holding up?
With a cane.
Very clever.
I just came to say this. Keep your hands off Fox Tekka.
Pardon me?
I may not have the leverage on paper anymore, but I still have friends. The Foxes were a valued part of this company for years. I'd hate to find out Wayne Powers was involved in these attacks.
You gotta love old people who don't give a shit anymore. But it's not just different voices. At this point, even his mannerisms seem much more Batman than Bruce Wayne. All of this points to Batman's personality being shattered. There's also the fact that Batman frequently talks about Bruce Wayne like he's a completely different person. Remember the very first video in Part 1?
After Bruce Wayne completes his hosting duties at the summit, we'll gather any leads we can to find her.
That's not the only time he talks like that.
This so-called Jade is emitting low-level radiation. Alfred, isn't Bruce Wayne about due for a trip to Metropolis?
Yes, but do you think this is an appropriate time?
Their only code is to get the job done. I know him.
Say what?
He and Bruce Wayne were students together in Japan. A long time ago.
There are a lot of these.
I can't worry about a cold now. After Batman drops our unconscious guest at police headquarters. Bruce Wayne has got a meeting with Mr. Ferris Boyle.
I need an immediate drop on the roof of the Ace Chemicals building. I'm on my way there now.
Of course. I watched your incarceration on the evening news. Was getting yourself arrested a part of your plan all along?
Not exactly. Although I did get some one-on-one time with Hugo Strange.
And how was that?
Not good. He knows that Bruce Wayne is Batman. He also told me that something called Protocol 10 will make him famous. I can't leave Arkham City until I find out what it is.
Even when he's alone with Dick or Alfred, everyone refers to Bruce Wayne in the third person.
And you suspect a pattern?
Only one way to find out.
I'll cancel Master Bruce's rendezvous with, Bambi, was it, sir?
Yes, Alfred. Do that.
We're set into motion by Hush.
But why kill Thomas Elliot? He's got no connection to Batman.
But he did, have one with Bruce Wayne. Hush knows Bruce Wayne is Batman.
And when talking to Terry in his old age, he outright admits that he does not consider himself to be Bruce Wayne. In his subconscious mind, he is Batman.
Tell me something. Why were you so sure those voices weren't coming from you?
Well, first, I know I'm not psychotic.
I hope your other reason's more convincing.
And second, the voice kept calling me Bruce. In my mind, that's not what I call myself.
What do you call yourself? Oh yeah, I suppose you would. But that's my name now.
Tell that to my subconscious.
He knows he's not psychotic. That's cute. But I'm not so sure. And this worsening of the line between Bruce Wayne and Batman is something I think is alluded to in other ways. Here, Batman talks of essentially going so far that he can't come back.
Not in it like I am, Barbara. It's still a game for you. It's still a thrill. You haven't been taken to the edge yet.
The edge of what?
The abyss. The place where you don't care anymore. Where all hope dies. We're done here. You're off the case.
At times, he's questioned whether he should quit before he goes too far. Though, as we've seen, quitting being Batman is not so easily done.
More good for the tourist trade than the streets.
This city would fall apart without you.
Maybe. Maybe not. When you look too long into the abyss looks back through you. Maybe it's time for Batman to return to the night that spawned him, before anyone else gets hurt.
At times, others have talked about how impossible it is to resist forever.
I'll find some way to fill my time. It's just as well, you know. I saw that abyss you spoke about. Very scary, but so tempting. I don't know how you resist it. I don't think it's humanly possible after a while. Be careful.
And I think that is what's going on as Bruce Wayne ages. He slowly loses control and becomes more like his true personality, Batman, more and more. I mean, if anger makes him start to lose control, while something as simple as this...
No. How could this have happened? Where are my parents' caskets?
I don't know, sir. We found it like this just a few minutes ago. I called the house right away.
Whoever did this is going to pay.
Perhaps.
Can make him angry enough to hurt someone. What does that say for his long-term prospects? Now we know Batman refuses to kill, but how easy is that for him?
Ignoring what he's done in the past. Blindly, stupidly disregarding the entire graveyards he's filled. The thousands who have suffered. The friends he's crippled. If it had been you that he'd beat to a bloody pulp, if he had taken you from this world, I would have done nothing but search the planet for this pathetic pile of evil death-worshipping garbage. And send him off to hell!
You don't understand. I don't think you've ever understood.
What? What, your moral code just won't allow for that?
It's too hard to cross that line.
No! God almighty, no. It'd be too damned easy. All I've ever wanted to do is kill him. A day doesn't go by when I don't think about subjecting him to every horrendous torture he's dealt out to others, and then end him. But if I do that, if I allow myself to go down into that place, I'll never come back.
Batman doesn't have the emotional stability to recover from killing someone. Such an act would destroy him. He's not like Superman, who also vows not to kill, but is ultimately such a well-rounded person with a functional support group that doing so wouldn't break who Superman is. Batman doesn't allow himself such support. Here's another clip from Justice League showing the level of warped Batman's mind is. For context, Batman is infected with a parasite that shows him his perfect fantasy life as a hallucination. Now, when Superman had this thing on, he dreamed he lived on Krypton. His family and everyone was alive. He wasn't a superhero, and life was in fact all white picket fence with a wife and kids. What is Batman's perfect life?
Beware my terrible sword! Ha ha! Let all evildoers beware my...
We'll start with the pretty pearls around the lady's neck. Now.
Yes! Get him, Dad, get him!
See, Batman didn't dream of a life where his parents were alive, where he was happy. No, he dreamed of his father beating the ever-loving crap out of the guy who tried to kill them. Watching his father beat a man senseless is Batman's ideal fantasy. This is how messed up emotionally Batman is, and in the last part, we'll see how bad things can get when you're an emotionally fractured obsessive with anger issues. Because Batman is not a hero, he's basically a criminal who breaks other criminals.